the final bit of news for this week.
Final Frontier.
The Final Frontier. I think that Sonic game is diluting its own brand because it's
And
all the trailers and the most exciting parts about that game are not Sonic characters. Everyone's excited for SpongeBob, and you're like, well, then make a SpongeBob game.
are you done?
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, I mean I have more.
Is that all you have to say?
No, I have more. But I was pausing what I was
Okay.
saying to provide you space to jump on in and disagree with me.
So I am on the opposite side of this thing because um, those are DLC characters. So the main game is not that, and the main game offers a lot of interesting things, like their rival system, where apparently they have like over 100. And yes, this doesn't work with the DLC characters, but again, they're DLC characters. They're not meant to be the thing that has a lot of, you know what I mean? Um, the rival characters, for example, like if you're Knuckles, your rival character is Sonic. They have a lot of dialogue between them where there's trash talk and stuff like that in between races, before races, after races. That and just the technological idea of as you're coming to the end of one lap, I've seen gameplay where like they'll have two rings basically, and you drive through them, and depending on how many people, as I understand it, go through each one, then the next lap you then go to that course, same race without a loading screen. Like there's a lot of technical aspects about it that are what get people excited. As for the diluting and losing the Sonic aspect of it, to be fair, this is a racing franchise which has also been around for a while.
Yeah,
It's been around since like the
this is true.
PlayStation 3 or something like that.
And,
So
yeah.
at a certain point, it's not much like I argue with Mario Kart. For me, this is where I was not excited by. I'm not excited by a lot of the Mario games anymore because they're all the same. They're all the
Yeah.
same. They
Or
just
they're
all feel the
finally
same.
doing stuff that people did 20 years ago. It's like, oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry, you've got a basic bitch free roaming system. Oh, Diddy Kong
it's
Racing
not.
did
It's,
it.
yeah, well, I was gonna say it's not even that other companies did. Like on their own console, it's been done years ago.
Right?
And the fact that in this version, in their world version, it's not even like there's a story mode attached to it.
Nope.
Like there's nothing to make it. It's just you can drive between the courses. Which, as an aside, they've now made the choice where, because as I understand it, prior to this most recent patch in Mario World, you could basically um, if you vote at the end of your course, if you're doing a Grand Prix or whatever, you vote at the end to choose which one that you want to go to. And if it's within driving distance in their world, they now have what they call these like basically location races
Ugh.
where you have to, and that's one of the laps that you do or one of the races that you do instead of a different one. So you waste a race having to race to the next race course before you can actually. And so prior to this recent patch, apparently you could vote to just do one that's far enough away that you can't do one of those in between races. And Nintendo has eliminated that because they're essentially being like, you're not playing the game right, so we're going to force you to do it the way that we want you to, which is forcing you to live in this world that nobody cares about.
That's dumb. That is dumb.
And so one of the, I think it's the lead creator, when asked why there wasn't any of the DLC characters like Link or the villagers or Mii's or anything like that were in previous games, his reason was because they don't fit into this Mario world, which, as an aside, is bullcrap because they're Nintendo characters and they absolutely
I
do.
mean,
Um,
one of your characters is literally a cow.
like it that's my thing. It
It's a
is there's
cow.
nothing there's nothing. You say that
It's a cow.
the guest DLC characters for Sonic dilute
Well, they
that
feel
game. I don't agree.
they feel
I think they
half-hearted and lazy because
I
they
think
just
I think they I think they bring in they bring in a wider market of people
Yeah,
that you
but
wouldn't have brought in
none of them
otherwise.
have
I think it's smart.
none of them have voices because they can't afford the licensing to any of them. So they just silently drive around the tracks. It's awful. They're so
They're
half-hearted.
they're
I don't
DLC
care. I
character.
don't care. It's $1 billion company. Put some fucking effort and spend some money on the licensing. Like
At
actually
least
get
they're
them.
at least they're
Like
trying to do something
get
different. At least
get
they're not just releasing the same game
get Tom
over
Kenny
and
in.
over and over again.
Tom Kenny in to do some new voice lines or something. Like put some like
I mean, to be
if you're gonna
fair,
make
how
if
do
you
you know that by the time the game doesn't come out, they won't have used like sound bites from previous? Because been
all
there
the
have
gameplay I've seen of the
there
guest characters looks bad.
there have been there have been from Nickelodeon, the Nickelodeon characters in particular, there have been kart racers. It would be very easy for them to put those files in.
Or like
How do you know they won't be the final
I saw
game?
the clip from
Especially if by the time this game comes out, because those characters aren't released on release. A lot of them are later DLC characters. So for all you know, by the time they come out, they will have recorded voice
I
lines.
mean that's not what I've heard, but I've also seen um
It's not out yet. You can't judge that.
uh
You can judge that. You can judge that once the game comes out. If it's
yeah I
still
don't know.
like that, absolutely. But
I saw the
until
Minecraft
that point,
gameplay.
I feel like it's not fair to judge a book before it's
I
released.
don't know. I saw the gameplay for the Minecraft levels and the Minecraft gameplay, and I'm like, it just doesn't. This just looks like, and it's the same thing with the SpongeBob. It just looks like a completely different game. It just doesn't look like, and I'm like, yeah, well,
But
okay.
that's the point. They're
Fine.
using the rings to go cross
Yeah,
dimensions.
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. When I'm
That's
saying
that's a selling point. Is
uh,
that you want those levels and those parts to look and feel different. They should not feel like the Sonic
it,
Kart parts.
it just if it makes it look. I don't know. I don't know. The trailers just make it look kind of bland and generic. I don't know. I've not seen.
Respectfully, I disagree.
I'm not seeing
This is the most
anything.
this is the most excited that I've been for a while
It's,
about a kart
it
racer.
just reminds me like one of those. Yeah, like one of those platformer fighters where it's just like they're just trying to do Mario Kart, and I don't know. It just there's nothing
I mean,
in there.
any kart racer is just trying to do Mario Kart. What are you talking about?
I just don't think this is gonna be it. I don't know. Maybe if they put some
Well,
effort
here's my
into utilizing
question.
the IP.
Would you spend $90 on Mario World?
No, but no.
Then it's not any good either.
No, but I'm just saying like my main point with this is it's if you're gonna utilize IP, just utilize it more interestingly. That's all I'm saying. It just
But see, my point is that okay, like I'll concede. I'm like I don't necessarily disagree, but my point is we're talking about it, right? It has garnered enough attention and enough.
To be fair, other people are talking about.
We're talking about it. But I'm saying for you and I'm not talking about everyone else. I'm just talking about for you and I. We are talking about it. We wouldn't have a news article talking about the world game because it's just so bland and boring looking.
There's just nothing about it. Yeah, there's nothing really about it. I mean, we did.
See?
We did.
Hakime agrees with me and says, I have to agree. This game is the most excited I've been for a racing game.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. To be fair, no, I was. But also, we did talk about Mario World. We talked about Cow. How can we not talk about Cow? How are you not excited to be that cow from that one level in that one Mario Kart game?
I'm not. I think it's stupid. I thought it was stupid when I heard about it. And 90% of the characters in that game are just Mario or any of the other characters in a costume.
Yeah,
that's not a different character. That's just a costume.
I think it's because I played the other Sonic racing games a bunch, and there's just like the thing that makes a kart racer stand out.
To me, that's the equivalent of like in those Dragon Ball games where they're like, yeah, we have over 70 characters, and like 16 of them are Goku in a different transformation.
Oh, speaking of did you see? Speaking of Dragon Ball, did you see that they put? Oh, what's the character's name? Shallot. They put Shallot.
Yeah, from one of the mobile games or
I was
something.
like, hey, I recognize that character. The guy who played him was so excited.
Hakime says, when I saw one of the level look like Hydro Thunder, I was hooked.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think it's because when I played the first Mario or Sonic All-Star, it was just so bland and generic. And it was just like, oh yeah, this is just a more bland...
Yeah, but that was on the PlayStation 3 like 20 years ago.
yeah, this just looks like more of this. I don't know. There's nothing about this it really is. I guess the going through portals is cool. I just yeah, it
To me, yeah, it's the fact
not
that in
really.
this day and age, the technology is there to load and then completely load a separate level while never actually
I mean, that is pretty cool.
going to a loading
But yeah, when
screen.
the trailer was like, "Oh yeah, here's the guy from
Like it doesn't. It's
Persona,"
not even
I'm
like it.
like, "All right, I
Uh,
guess."
like from what I've seen, it's not even like in previous ones where like you go to like a end of the race, like you're coming first and it's got the results on the screen and you're like that's what's secretly loading, and like not even that. From what I've seen, it's just literally you continue racing straight
I
into a separate
I
level.
think I think I would be more like, oh yeah, if they called it Sega. I know it's like such a nitpick, but I think it's because they're trying to be like, oh, it's a Sonic game, but it's not a Sonic. Like there's like too many guest characters for it to be like call it like Sega All Stars Racing or like something like that, and then
That's fair because like even from the beginning,
it
like
just
in those earlier ones, it was more of a Sega game. Like they
yeah
had Monkey Ball in one of the earlier ones. They had Taxi Driver in one of the earlier ones.
same.
So like yeah, it was always kind of more of a Sega racer. Um,
Because I'm like, yeah,
I
it's
think
just
I think you probably would be more content if it was like Sonic Sega All Star Racers or something
I
like where it at least acknowledges the other
I think what would
characters.
make me more excited is a if it had a story mode that like my thing is like if you're gonna do a cross dimensional kind of game, if you're just gonna have a generic skin of SpongeBob come in, saying repeated pre-recorded lines that they've got from the archive instead of new recorded lines for that game, that's not interesting to me. That's not exciting. If I wanted to play a generic SpongeBob racer, it's like you said when I saw that the first words that popped in my head were the Nickelodeon license sure must have been expensive. Like, but none of these characters have any life or any character. They're just hollow theme park mascot like
I will
representations.
say,
It's
I
just
will
not
say,
interesting to me.
if I could do it my way, um, if I could do it my way, I would have made it where and I'm assuming there's not, but maybe there is. If there is not a story mode, then I would have made it where there is a story mode, and I mean I know why this would never happen because it would directly clash with the thing that Nintendo is trying to sell. Um, but I would have it be where in the story mode it like the Sonic Racers meet up with a bunch of different ones, like stuff from Microsoft, stuff from
Yeah,
Nintendo,
that would be cool.
stuff like from all over the. But again, I know why Nintendo doesn't want that to happen because you obviously don't want Mario showing up in the Sonic like the Sega kart racer to
Now,
directly compete against themselves. Now that being said, it would be cool if they did that and then had Sonic come over and be in Mario Kart.
that would
Like
be
you could
rad.
be doing like
That
a
would be
whole
rad.
cross promotion thing and
Like, but yeah,
make it a
like
whole thing.
if maybe
But
in the story mode Sonic from the Roger Craig Smith Sonic went through a portal and he's hanging out with Ben Schwartz Sonic, then I'd be stoked on this, right? Because I'm like, I'm so sick to death of
I
this.
mean I have heard rumors that two of the characters are Sonic version of Mario or Sonic version of movie version of Sonic and movie version of Shadow, but I don't know if that's
Yeah,
true.
probably it's the same thing as well. No, he actually record. I will give Keanu Reeves credit. He recorded actual lines for the Shadow one, but
Oh yeah.
um, I, yeah, it's just I don't. It's so disappointing and disheartening to me. Yeah, that you bring in these guest characters and you don't do anything with them. Like,
Again, though, to be fair, it's a long while from it being released, and even further from those DLC characters coming out. There is time for them to go and do
that's not what
stuff.
I've heard. I've heard it's all because there's people who have been playing betas and stuff, and it's all yeah, it's all like built to the.
Again, sure, but those are betas, and it's
Uh,
months from those
that's not what
and
I've.
then
That's
again,
not what I've heard.
even further from DLC characters being
No, that's not what
released.
I've heard. I've heard because of licensing. Because like for example, apparently, the Werehog, Sonic the Werehog is in there, but he doesn't speak because they don't have the rights to use the guy Jason Griffith that version of Sonic. They can't use it.
But again, my point is that just because it's like that currently, You yourself have spoken as to how easy it is to get someone in a voice recording booth
Sure,
and
but
record something. There
um,
is still time. Now,
but
am I saying that I think that will happen? No, not necessarily, but there is still time.
right.
They could.
What I'm saying is they're not going to though because of legal licensing reasons. They can't.
But again, legal licensing reasons can change in a couple months, is what I'm
They won't.
saying, Justin.
They won't. They won't change in a couple
You,
months.
okay, so you're a mind reader, or you're a future teller.
I'm not that I'm a
You can
future
tell the
teller.
future.
Is I know how contracts work in Hollywood. No, they're legally not. There was a video I saw of Roger Craig Smith. They were asking him, "Oh, are you going to be playing the werehog?" And he was like, "No, I legally can't." So no, they legally can't use these voices now without
Yeah, but
contracts.
things can change,
They
Justin.
wouldn't pay the money for it. They wouldn't pay the money for it. Not for DLC characters. So what it means is yeah, you're gonna have pre-recorded like laughs and shit that they've pre-done that's archived, and there's not gonna be cutscenes or any story content or
Well,
any
again, no, they're DLC
interactions.
characters.
Like
They're DLC characters.
they're gonna
They would
have
never be.
right,
They would
but
never
that's
do
what
that
I'm
for
saying.
DLC
That's what I'm
characters.
saying. So it's like okay, you do a race on the SpongeBob track with the SpongeBob characters with generic SpongeBob pre-recorded dialogue. What makes it a
That's
Sonic
what
game at that point?
That's what I would expect from DLC. What makes it Sonic is the main game where you do probably have a story, where there is probably and
Hopefully.
that's where you get all the Sonic stuff.
I guess my point is the trailers are not, in my opinion, for me, doing a very good job of selling this. There's just
But
not.
see, that's where you're the cynic who hates racing games, and
I just they need
it
to.
is doing something
That's
for
because
me. So
in my opinion, Mario Kart kind of perfected kart racers. Whether or not you think they've evolved or not, the foundation of all kart racers, the blueprint to all kart racers, is Mario Kart.
sure, but then I could go back and play any number of them, and why should I get the newest one at
What I'm
$90?
saying is this doesn't for me. Yeah, I guess traveling between the levels. Yeah, that's an impressive bit, but just stylistically, like for me, what makes a good kart racer different is like, are the weapons interesting? Is the gameplay interesting? It's like no, it's still just a basic bitch cartwheel with extra bells and whistles. Like it's just
Oh, see, I
it's
guess that's where we
not
differ.
doing anything for me.
Is as far as I'm concerned, you're right. Nintendo mastered the kart racer back in the '90s with Mario 64 on the N64. Any kart racer that has come out since then, all it has to do is do that, and I'm pretty content. It's still just a kart racer. They're all kart racers. They're all the same.
Yeah, I know, but
There's nothing different about any of them for me, and I don't need there to be anything different for
certain
me.
ones don't have different gimmicks
the thing,
though, and that make it interesting. So like for me, Double Dash is my favorite Mario Kart game because there's something different about it. They're doing something
sure,
different. This just doesn't seem to be.
but well, again, but what this is doing and that is different is those portals. That's what's
Yeah.
doing different, and it doesn't do it for you. That's great, but you can't say it's not doing anything different.
I
That
just
is what
don't
is different.
think it's enough. It's not enough.
Whether it's not enough,
Not
whether it's
enough.
not enough, most kart racers are not enough. Most kart racers are just Mario Kart with a slightly different
Yeah,
paint on it.
yeah.
And what's going to ultimately matter is, do you like that paint? I do, because I like Sonic more than I like Mario.
I think I like you're like, oh, part of the appeal is that characters interact with each other. I'm like, I've seen that. I want to see, like I say, the marketing of this thus far has been, hey, look, check out the guest characters, and that's great. But then that's why I'm holding the guest characters to a standard, because I'm like, if it's gonna be about the guest characters, then you need to put the effort into the guest characters. I want to see Sonic and SpongeBob interact. I'm just using SpongeBob as an example, but like I want to see Minecraft Steve and Sonic interact, and Minecraft Steve for some reason has Jack Black's voice. Like that's what I want. Like that's the only reason to do a gimmick like this is to do that. Or like, yeah,
I don't inherently disagree. But again, my thing is that, and this is where this is my hope. Even though I know I'm ultimately going to be let down, and it's not going to be. But this is my hope. My hope is that ultimately those DLC characters are just DLC characters. They can be the ones that are a letdown and ultimately were the thing to hook people in to get them to appreciate the truly cool thing of all the secret characters that they haven't actually told us about, that aren't DLC characters, that are going to be in the game somewhere, that are going to completely blow our minds, and those will have all the interactive things, and that's where all of the effort is actually going. And these DLC characters are the red herring, that red herring people into being like, oh, that looks really cool, and dragging people in just so they can be surprised by the even cooler thing.
Because like yeah,
That's my hope.
If this game
But
gets like all of the Sonics back, and yeah, there you can race as all the different versions of Sonic, and they all give each other the business while they drive, hell yeah, I will rescind all criticism. But yeah,
that's what I'm
thus
hoping,
far,
is that we get something like
it
that.
just looks like a basic bitch kart racer. It's just nothing really.
But
about it is-
again, I argue that all kart racers are that. All of
right,
them,
but
every
like
single one.
that's where it's you have to like do something
And
in
it
there
ultimately comes
and
down
it
to
just
what what coat of paint you like.
yeah, I don't know. 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 I have mixed feelings. Anyway,
I certainly agree with I certainly do agree with Hikime, who says the price is insane, but
I
I'll get
mean,
it on
the
sale.
prices
That's
are
probably going to be
insane,
me.
and I will get it on sale. And let's get rid of that so the audience doesn't have to hear that happen.